the cameras flashed, the red carpet crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Mm-hmm.
For over a decade, the internet heralded them as the ultimate modern couple, the blueprints for a, quote, perfect, equitable partnership.
Oh, yeah. They were the poster children for 50-50. You pay half, I pay half, no dependencies, no power trips. It sounded like the dream.
It did. It sounded like the modernized romance we were all supposed to want. But what happens when the math just doesn't add up to happiness?
Right. And what happens when fairness is actually just a shield for, like, deep-seated fear?
See, that's the terrifying part. You can have the perfect everything, the perfect Instagram feed, and still be hollow inside.
And that narrative completely shatter.
Exactly. We are talking about the reveal that shocked everyone. Gabrielle Union has finally admitted that the 50-50 structure she championed for years wasn't about equality at all. It was a lie she told herself to survive trauma. Welcome to StarScope Report.
It is good to be here. And honestly, this topic has me stressed out already. We aren't just talking about celebrity gossip today.
Not at all.
We are looking at the psychology of survival disguised as a relationship goal. I feel like half the people listening are going to have an epiphany about their own lives.
It's very possible. Today's deep dive is squarely focused on the marriage of NBA legend Dwyane Wade and Hollywood powerhouse Gabrielle Union. And we are pulling from a massive stack of sources here, exclusive interviews from late 2025 and early 2026, deep cuts from the Balanced Black Girl podcast, essays from Time magazine, and of course, Marie Claire.
And we're exploring why one of Hollywood's strongest couples basically had to destroy their own rules to save their marriage. Because let's be real, rules in a marriage usually mean someone is scared of losing something.
That is the core theme today, control versus vulnerability. For years, if you followed pop culture, you knew the Wade Union doctrine.
50-50 or bust.
Exactly. But to understand why that became their law, we have to go back to the beginning, back to their time in Miami. This is the origin story of the My House incident.
The My House incident. Ugh. It sounds like a bad sitcom plot, but the way she tells it, it's more like a horror movie.
It was a huge moment. So set the scene. Wade and Union are in Florida. He's the star of the Miami Heat, at the top of his game.
Right.
He's paying the bills for the house they share. And one day, in the middle of an argument, he just casually refers to the place as my house.
Oh, absolutely not. Nope. I'm physically recoiling right now. That is the one thing you do not say.
It instantly changes the dynamics.
It turns your partner into your landlord.
That's exactly how Union took it. According to our sources, her reaction was immediate. It was visceral. She just looked at him and said, "You will never say that to me again."
I can hear that tone, that low, scary calm.
Yeah.
But here's the analysis behind it. For her, hearing my house wasn't just a fact about who paid the mortgage. It was a threat to her autonomy.
It meant she was a guest in her own life.
So she made a rule, a hard rule. When they eventually moved to Los Angeles, she insisted, really demanded, that she pay exactly half of the mortgage, half of all the household expenses. Okay, but help me with the math here. Dwyane Wade made over $200 million in NBA contracts alone. Gabrielle Union is a huge star, but that's different money. Splitting a mega mansion mortgage, 50-50, that feels, punitive.
Well, it gets more intense. The sources detail that this 50-50 split extended to everything.
Everything.
Even their daughter, Kavya James, the famous shady baby, her expenses were split right down the middle.
Wait, you're kidding me. Like, here's the bill for the diapers, Venmo me your half? That is wild. That's roommate behavior, not a marriage.
And they also established a rule where each of them is 100% responsible for their own extended families.
Okay, that part I kind of get.
So Wade covers his mom, his sisters. Union covers her family. Wade described it as, I pay 100% of my life, she pays 100% of hers.
It just sounds so lonely. It's like they built two separate castles next to each other instead of one home.
Well, for years, the public loved it. Union coined the phrase 50-50 or bust. It was seen as this big feminist empowerment move.
Right.
She even insisted on a prenup because she had her own assets to protect. And as she put it, she'd never seen Wade balance a checkbook.
Which, okay, fair enough. Pro athletes and money management can be a rough combo. But surely at some point you realize you're both rich enough that it doesn't matter who pays for the appetizers.
I know. You would think. But this is where the psychology comes in. Union herself recently talked about having a scarcity mindset. Even as a multimillionaire, she lived with this anxiety of, oh God, if this movie bombs, am I going to have enough to hold everybody up? She was operating from a place of deep fear.
The bag lady syndrome. The fear that it could all just disappear?
But it was deeper than that. And here is where the story takes a really dark turn. What looked like empowerment was actually a desperate defense mechanism. And just wait until you hear what she finally confessed in 2025 about why she needed that wall.
It has to be bigger than the My House comment.
It is much, much bigger. In late 2025 and into 2026, Gabrielle Union just dropped the facade. She went on the Balanced Black Girl podcast and admitted the 50-50 thing wasn't about fairness.
Wow.
It was a trauma response.
Okay. That recontextualizes everything.
She said, and I'm paraphrasing a little here, that 50-50 is, I'm not going to be vulnerable enough to trust you with 100% of anything. Not my heart, not my cash.
Oof, that hits hard. I'm not going to be vulnerable enough. She was literally buying her own safety.
Precisely. And if we look at the clinical context, the sources remind us that Union is a survivor of sexual assault.
Right.
She was attacked at gunpoint at her job when she was only 19. She's been very open about her PTSD diagnosis. And when you experience trauma like that, your brain rewires itself to seek control.
Of course. Because if you control every single variable, you can't be hurt again.
Exactly. She explained that the trauma made her hyper-focused on efficiency and fiercely independent. Being independent wasn't a choice. It was a survival tactic.
So if she relied on no one could control her. If she paid her own way, she could leave at any second without owing anyone a thing.
That is so heartbreaking. To think she spent decades building a fortress made of money and calling it empowerment, it's exhausting just thinking about keeping that score. And that exhaustion eventually broke her. There was this specific turning point she mentioned in the new interviews. She decided to ask Wade to take over the whole mortgage, to finally stop the 50-50 on the house.
Oh, man. For someone with that mindset, asking for financial help, even from your husband who has hundreds of millions of dollars, that must have felt like jumping off a cliff.
It was visceral. She said she felt like she was going to die. She was crying, shaking, having a full-blown anxiety attack at just the thought of letting him pay.
She thought she was going to die. Wow.
Yeah.
That is the body keeping the score right there. Her nervous system was just screaming, danger.
Correct. It's a somatic response. But here's the twist. What was Wade's reaction to all this?
Yeah. Knowing men, probably just confusion, like, babe, I got it, chill.
He was incredibly gentle. He told her, I only did the 50-50 thing because you insisted. I thought it made you feel safe.
Oh, stop. That actually makes me want to cry. He was respecting a boundary that she built out of fear, thinking he was just being a good modern husband.
It just shows how tricky communication can be. He thought he was empowering her. She was actually trapping herself. So they shifted.
Okay.
They have a new model now. They call it the vulnerability model.
I like the sound of that a lot better than 50-50 or bust.
It's no longer 50-50. Union says there are days where the ratio is, I have 10%, I need you to be 90%.
Yeah.
Or even, I have nothing today, I need you to be 100%.
Which is what a partnership actually is. It's not a business deal. It's a seesaw. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes you're up. But you have to trust the other person isn't going to jump off and let you crash.
And that trust is the hardest part. Because money wasn't the only thing threatening this marriage. If you think the financial split was messy, we have to talk about the break.
Yeah.
You know, the break that resulted in a baby.
Oh, God. The break baby. This is the elephant in the room that never, ever leaves.
The year was 2013. Union and Wade were dating, but they took a brief break, scheduling, distance, the usual stuff. And during this break, Dwyane Wade fathered a child, his son Xavier, with a longtime friend.
Okay, can we just pause on that? Break baby is such a clean term for my boyfriend got someone else pregnant while we were figuring things out. The betrayal. And with a longtime friend. That's the knife twist.
Union didn't mince words about it. She described herself as devastated. She said shattered was too weak a word.
And yet they stayed together. This is the part that always gets me. How do you come back from that? The internet roasted her for staying.
Well, Wade admits it wasn't easy. He says the marriage hasn't been perfect and that they still have shouts about it today. It didn't just go away with an apology.
Right.
But they committed to something they call radical transparency.
That sounds like therapy speak for we talk about the painful stuff until it hurts a little less.
Basically. They don't pretend the past didn't happen. And in late 2013, when Wade reproposed, he enlisted his kids. They held up signs that said, "Will you marry us?"
Okay, I'm conflicted. On one hand, that's adorable. On the other, using the kids. That's emotional leverage. How do you say no to that?
It definitely raised the stakes. But if you thought that was the hardest thing they went through, you'd be wrong.
What could possibly be harder than a public scandal with a break baby?
The battle for a child of their own. Their infertility journey.
This part just destroys me. Because she wanted a baby so badly.
It was brutal. Union suffered 8 or 9 miscarriages. She was diagnosed with adenomyosis.
Which, for those of us who skip med school, is...
It's a condition where uterine tissue grows into the muscular wall of the uterus. It causes severe pain and often infertility. Gabrielle described her body as feeling like a prisoner to IVF for 3 years.
Prisoner to IVF. That is such a vivid image. The shots, the hormones, the hope, and then the crushing disappointment over and over.
And all while your partner is raising a child he had with someone else, the psychological toll is unimaginable. It got so bad that Union was convinced she needed to leave Wade.
She wanted to leave him. Why?
She felt like she was defective. She literally tried to break up with him so he could go find someone who could give him a biological child. She thought her value was tied to her uterus.
That is the ultimate tragic logic of trauma. I'm broken, so I'll throw myself away so you can be happy.
She was trying to 50-50 her way out of the marriage again.
Exactly. But here's the hero moment for Wade. Union wanted to try these dangerous experimental drugs to fix the adenomyosis.
Wow.
And Wade stepped in and said, no.
He vetoed it?
He drew the line. He told her, I want you. I don't just want a baby. I want you on this earth. He refused to let her risk her life.
Okay, Dwyane, that is a redeeming moment. That's him saying, I choose you, not just what you can give me.
It had to be the moment where the trust really clicked. They eventually chose surrogacy, which led to the birth of Kavya James in 2018. The shady baby. Thank goodness for Kavya. If you haven't seen her side-eye memes, you are missing out.
She is iconic. But looking at the timeline, they survived infidelity, infertility, deep trauma. So where does that leave them now in 2026? They've celebrated their 11th wedding anniversary.
I'd imagine they're exhausted. I'm exhausted just talking about it.
Actually, the current state of the union, pun intended, is fascinatingly chill. After all that, they've landed in a place of no advice, just vibes.
No advice. Wait, aren't they basically relationship gurus at this point?
That's the funny part. Dwyane Wade famously refuses to give marriage advice now. He was quoted saying, I know how to be married to my wife. I don't know your wife.
Huh. I actually love that. He's like, look, I barely survived my own marriage. I am not qualified to fix yours.
He said Ice-T was the inspiration for that philosophy.
Ice-T being the sage of wisdom for Dwyane Wade in 2026 is not on my bingo card, but I'll take it.
It's a sign of real maturity, right? Acknowledging that every partnership is a unique ecosystem. What works for them might be a disaster for someone else.
They seem to be having fun with it now, too. I saw Union joking that Wade tries to sabotage her by taking bad photos of her.
Yes, and they did that viral. 2026 is the new 2016 photo trend.
It's nice to see them just being goofy. After everything, they've earned the right to just post bad angles and laugh.
But Union still keeps it real. She shared this mantra she lives by now. She said, unfortunately, no one is going to care as much as you do about the state of your heart.
Oof. That sounds a little harsh on the surface, like, you're on your own, kid.
It does, but she explains it as being grounding. The world keeps turning. If you're in pain, you have to be the primary caretaker of your own heart.
I guess that connects back to the vulnerability model. You have to care for your own heart so that you can be vulnerable. It's not about isolating yourself. It's about taking responsibility for your own emotional landscape.
It's a powerful evolution from I pay half so I'm safe to I trust you with my heart, but I'm still responsible for it.
It makes you look at those couple goals posts a little differently, doesn't it? We see the vacations, not the PTSD triggers.
Absolutely. Gabrielle Union and Dwyane Wade proved that a 50-50 marriage might look fair on paper, but a real marriage requires 100% vulnerability.
And that's the scary part. 50-50 is easy. It's math. Vulnerability is hard. It's faith.
And Union realized her independence, that badge of honor, was actually a trauma response. It makes you wonder, how many of our own boundaries are actually just walls we built out of fear?
That is the question I'm going to be staring at the ceiling thinking about tonight. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.